Welcome to the Rocky and Meisty Show, everyone. Thank you for joining us as we roll on with our playoff preview wildcard weekend. Yes, there's a lot of previews for wildcard weekend. 6 games for the second time in history. Last year was the first time, I believe. This year will be the second time, but this year's the first time Monday night. But we're not going to discuss Monday night right now. We're going to discuss Sunday afternoon / maybe evening time, depending where you are in the country. Cowboys versus Niners. So many compelling storylines. Actually, a lot of people are picking the underdogs in this game. But before we end, probably some of us will do the same. But before we get to that, remember to subscribe and remember to follow Drew Stool Sports on. What's your handle, Morty? I knew one of these times I had to give you a shout out on Twitter. Drew Stool, right? At Drew Stool. I know what it is. At Drew Stool. At Drew Stool.
Merch coming soon.
Remember to follow them on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter as well, Rocky and Meisty. Follow mine and Meisty's personal accounts as well, or Meisty and mine and Meisty. I don't know. I forgot. I haven't gone to school in quite a while. Anyway, let's begin. So Cowboys-Niners, this is such a compelling matchup for a lot of reasons, right? Obviously, the Cowboys have struggled down the stretch offensively. They lost Michael Gallup. It's going to be huge. Cedric Wilson has definitely come on as of late, and he's been a good weapon for them all season. But losing Gallup is huge, even though they didn't have him the first half of the season. Torn ACL. Still a lot of weapons there. Prescott has not been his old self. Last 8 games of the season, putting the ball in harm's way, not making as many big-time throws. A lot of concerns there, and we all have a lot to say about it. The question is this. Who should be considered the favorite in this game? It's not necessarily evenly matched. I think talent-wise, probably the Cowboys are up there. But the problem is that 49ers do so many things to confuse opposing teams that, it's such an interesting, storyline. But Yehuda, who do you think should be considered the favorites in this game, quote unquote?
I got to take the Cowboys as the favorite because they're at home. And obviously, we've seen less and less home being like a huge advantage, like playing at home. Like last year, I think was the first time that home teams in 2020, had a losing record. That definitely had to do with no fans. But this year was, I think there were only like 3 or 4 games above 500 home teams. So it's not as big of an advantage as people think anymore. But these teams are so evenly matched that I would have to give the Cowboys a slight advantage for being at home. But this game is going to be awesome. Like it's definitely the best game in the slate. Over this coming weekend. The Niners, no one's hotter coming into the playoffs. They're a dark horse Super Bowl pick, I've heard, for a bunch of teams, even for a bunch of people.
Ooh.
Yeah, even though they're a 6 seed. Kyle Shanahan is the most creative play caller. Like if the Ravens want to fix their play calling issues, they should have Greg Roman sit down and watch one Kyle Shanahan game. The things he's doing with Debo and these random running backs, no hate to Elijah Mitchell, he's been awesome, but these guys are like 6th round guys, these small fast guys that he finds out of nowhere are just running like crazy, and putting Debo in the backfield and lining him up and all the motion and everything that he's got going, and even Juszczyk and out the backfield, and George Kittle as the one of the best tight ends after the catch. Brandon Ayuk out of the doghouse. So the Niners are on fire right now, and they are playing with house money. They're an underdog. I think the pressure is on the Cowboys because of the fact that they're America's team, and they're supposed to hyped up every year. They say this is our year. How about them boys? How about them Cowboys? So I think there's a little bit of pressure on Dak, and after his big injury coming back, but they do a lot of things right. Their defense is completely made over from last year. They were horrendous against the run last year. They were not good against the pass. They were not getting turnovers. They were just really bad. But this year they're creating, big explosive plays on defense, turnovers, pick sixes for fumble recoveries for touchdowns, everything. Trey Diggs leads the league in picks, but he also gets to burn the most. We're going to talk about that. But Micah Parsons is a monster rookie this year. They line him up everywhere. Like they got pieces everywhere on defense. They got playmakers on defense. They got playmakers on offense. Zeke hasn't looked his best, but he's all right. He's chugging along. Tony Pollard coming in. They lost Michael Gallup, but they still got CD and Cooper, and now Dalton Schultz coming on. And it all comes down to Dak on offense. We see if they can match what the Niners do with all the incredible motion and ways that they get their guys in space and yards after catch. So we'll see. I think it's going to be an awesome game. It's going to be very exciting at Jerry World.
Yeah, I want to talk about Deebo Samuel for a second. Fascinating player. I tweeted out. I'm like, we during the Niners Rams game, I said we need the Niners to win just so the world gets another week of Deebo Samuel because he's that exciting to watch. I'm looking up the numbers over here right now. 326 running snaps and 505 snaps lining up wide to be a receiver. And he is lining up wide 536 times. He's lined up wide. He's a deep threat. That's what he is, right? It's unbelievable to have such a versatile guy. And a lot of times you'll see what he'll do is he'll initially start lining up wide, and then he'll make his way, casually into the backfield and line up right alongside Eli Mitchell, or he'll just be the lone running back for that play. Like, they can do so many things with him. He can be a split back with Eli Mitchell, or like you mentioned with Juszczyk as a good blocker. They can have him come in the jet sweep, or they can just, put him back there as a running back, as a decoy, and then he'll go out and run a route. Like, you never know what he's going to do. It's so exciting. And that, I think he's pretty much like Cordell Patterson is a poor man's Deebo Samuel. And because of that, that epitomizes the Niners entirely. They are such a confusing team for opponents. And, the defense has played well as of late, but that offense is so good. Shanahan did so many good things. Look what he did with, obviously, Matt Ryan, bringing them to the Super Bowl. Garoppolo brought him to the Super Bowl. Like, he's taken these quarterbacks that aren't considered elite, quote unquote. Ryan's had a few elite years, obviously, but, not over the scope of their careers, not considered elite, and brought them to Super Bowls and, was on the doorstep of winning Super Bowls with both of them. So it's unbelievable. His play calling just confuses opposing teams. And Juszczyk, like Kittle, there's so many players, so many versatile players on this team. It almost makes me think, like, are they quarterback proof? I brought this up so many times, right? If any team you could say is quarterback proof in today's NFL, which is almost impossible to find such a thing because we know that the quarterback is by far the most important position. But I'm curious to see what you guys think about this. Like, could the 49ers get away more than any other team with having a mediocre quarterback? Are they as close to quarterback proof as possible? Something to talk about. You think so, Meisty?
I think so. I think that they're one of the only teams in the NFL that are quarterback proof, because, and it's shown last year, they made, or in past years, I should say, where they've made it pretty far in the playoffs with him. And also just the fact that their running game is just outstanding. And as long as he avoids making these stupid throws, then they're only scared to me is if they get down early, too big, too early, and Dak, starts putting up numbers and they have to play catch up. That's where you're going to be in big trouble if you're the 49ers. They got to get out early. They got to slow the game down. They got to play at their speed. For the Cowboys, it's going to come down to stopping this entire rushing attack. And for the 49ers, it's just going to come down to game speed and being able to slow down the game and just be up on top and not having to play catch up.
Yeah, you mentioned Jimmy Garoppolo not turning the ball over. Imperative to their success. Imperative. I think 4 times this year, he's had 3 or more turnover-worthy plays, putting the ball in harm's way. They've lost those games. But when he's only putting the ball in harm's way once or twice a game, then they're, obviously they've won a lot more games. So that's a part of the success. Yehuda, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think of the teams, to be quarterback proof, like you said, there's a good question, there's a good way to phrase it. I don't know if they're completely quarterback proof because, like, we saw Trey Lance come in and he wasn't the best. And obviously he's a rookie. So you're saying, oh, well, he's not really a good judge of the character, but the question was quarterback proof. So I guess their system is really, really good, but I don't know if they're ready yet for Trey Lance to be in the system, as a rookie. But obviously they'll make some fixes right now. But for right now, the focus is on Jimmy Garoppolo and what he can do against this team. And I think that the teams are so evenly matched on offense. They are 5th and 6th in DVOA, San Francisco at 5. They are at San Francisco at 6.1 yards per play, Dallas at 6.0 yards per play. And I think some of this definitely can be inflated by Dallas's huge victories over Washington, over the Eagles the last week of the season we saw.
Yeah.
And they can get a little bit of benefit from whooping and just destroying the sorry teams in their division. But not the Eagles are sorry. They did make the playoffs. They were playing with a bunch of backups. But Washington and the Giants, Dallas is just able to destroy. So their stats can get a bit inflated from that, but they are still, blowing them out. Like they are still destroying an NFL team. So that counts for something. So the biggest thing for me really is this defense, because if the 49ers get ahead, like Micey was saying, and can play at their tempo, and they can get a lead, then the pass rush can pin their ears back from Niners. Nick Bosa, and Armstead can really create some pressure on Dak. And if he's under pressure, we saw he hasn't been himself necessarily. If he's under constant duress, I mean, no one is himself when they're under constant duress. But their secondary is not very good, and they've had some COVID issues. They've had a bunch of injuries, and I think they can be attacked. But on the flip side, if Dallas can get ahead as well, their pass rush is ferocious as well. DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons. So I don't know if one team's ever going to be up 10 or 14 points at any point in this game, but if whichever team is up, that pass rush can then start to hit home. But both of these defenses are going to make some plays, and it's going to be close.
Yeah, go ahead. Rocky, real quick, the 49ers do get back Trent Williams this week, which is going to be a very big addition to being able to protect Jimmy Garoppolo, because like we said, if Jimmy Garoppolo can have time to not make these stupid throws, that's going to be tremendous.
Yeah, but Dan Quinn knows that also. He's just not going to line up Micah Parsons or DeMarcus Lawrence on Trent Williams, because there's no point. Like, he wins every play. So I mean, that's a win for the Niners, because that means that Jimmy will most likely never get hit from his blind side. If we see a rookie, if we see Micah Parsons, beat Trent Williams, that would, for me, that would sway his, obviously he's defensive rookie of the year, but for defensive player of the year, that would, obviously you're not supposed to let the playoffs influence the regular season awards, but that would be insane to see. Although I don't.
You said it's not going to get out of hand, Yehuda. Completely agree with you. However, one exception. Jimmy G can't put the ball in harm's way, which he's done at times this year. He can't do that. He doesn't have big play potential. He just doesn't have it in him. 10 big time throws the entire season. He started most of the year. That's a very low number. He doesn't really have it. He's a short to intermediate range. That's where he makes his living. But don't ask him to do too much. That's why I brought up quarterback proof. Like, the Niners have thrived this year when Jimmy G doesn't do too much. He has to make a couple throws. He's going to have to do that. Don't throw don't make one of those crazy Trevon Diggs interceptions that he's had throughout the years. We know that. Trevon Diggs can get beat down the field. He's allowed more yards than any cornerback in football this year. So he can get beat down the field. Don't make sure you're not going to throw the ball where Trevon Diggs is in the right place at the right time, which has happened to so many quarterbacks this year. Make sure to take advantage of those times where the coverage is blown. So, just good decisions. Go through your reads. Good decisions. Don't force the ball down the field. Use Deebo Samuel. Use check. Kittle in the middle of the field. He's always open. Great route runner. Just like and quarterbacks love middle of the field. They love it. Why? It's right in front of your face. It's right in front. It's straight vision. So oftentimes he'll be the first read. Even if he's not, don't do too much. And if Jimmy G can do that, I think that's the X factor. Don't turn the ball over. It's cliche, right? Don't turn the ball over. Turnovers. It comes down to turnovers. But for the Niners particularly, I think it's very important, because when they don't turn the ball over, it's very difficult to beat them. They'll run the ball. They'll have these short and methodical type of offense. They'll keep you off the field. And that's why I think the Niners are going to win this game. I think Jimmy G, even if he has one or two bad throws the ball in harm's way, even one or two interceptions, maybe not two, but if it's one interception and they can limit to one or two turnovers, I'm liking the Niners, and I think they can pull it off. And I think Shanahan's got a plan. And I think I'm going with the Niners to pull this off, because I think that Jimmy G is going to be smart enough to limit his turnovers. So I think.
So the Cowboys have like a mid-tier run defense. So I think the Niners can get their run game going, which they should be able to do, especially with Deebo in the backfield. Like, every time I'm watching football and I see a wide receiver in the backfield, like, I notice it. I mean, I assume that the players on the field notice it, but you're almost always going to get a mismatch, and you can get a receiver who can run these quick Texas routes and these out routes from the backfield, and then because he's going to beat a linebacker, but then to have for Deebo to be able to then rush the ball and be efficient at rushing the ball and be a legit running back, like, it just adds just an insane dimension to your offense.
Unbelievable.
And Shanahan is so good at figuring this out. But the Cowboys defense has just been ferocious this year. If there's anyone who's going to stop it, it is the Cowboys defense. And I think they are, I don't think they're getting enough credit for the defense that they have. They have the number one defense according to DVOA. And I think they're just so effective at creating turnovers and creating these explosive plays, which, they are susceptible to being beat from, by being so overly aggressive, like Diggs, because he gives up the most yards. But I still think they can create such fumble, such fumble opportunities and such heavy pass rush and just swarming ability that even though the Niners, will probably be able to run on them a little bit, I think ultimately the Cowboys defense does its job. And then the last thing that I think will make the biggest difference, because this game is going to come down to a field goal or to, a field goal here, a field goal there that is missed, that then costs them, something where they have to then go for a touchdown because they missed a field goal, something like that, right? So the Cowboys are top 6 in the special teams DVOA. That's the third part of the game. Offense, defense, special teams all got to work together, while the Niners are only 22nd. So they are significantly worse than the Cowboys in that area, and I think it could come down to that. Robbie Gould, he was a great kicker. He's fine now, but he's not what he used to be. And the Cowboys do have Greg the Leg kicking at home in a dome. I think
Greg the Leg.
It's going to come down to a field goal. He's not what he once was, but it's going to come down to a field goal. And I think the Cowboys with their better special teams, I'm taking the Cowboys to win this game, even though it's like they're the favorite, but like everyone's picking the Niners. So like they're not really the favorite. So it's kind of, I'm like picking an upset here by saying the Cowboys. So I've seen a lot more people on the Niners, but I'm going to go with the Cowboys because I think they're going to win at least one game in the playoffs.
Yeah, great point. I was going to say I like to be different. Normally, you're being different in this case. Even though the Niners are the underdog, a lot of people are like, "Oh, upset." The Cowboys only favored by 3 according to Vegas, so obviously neutral field. It's an even ball game. But not people are starting to jump on the Niners train all of a sudden. I've been up and down on them the entire season. I agree with you. Game of inches. It's going to be a game of inches. But I just think Prescott's going to, under pressure, I think he's going to make a couple of bad decisions. 1 or 2 turnovers in the fourth quarter. I see it happening. Cowboys quarterbacks have been prone to doing that in big games. I'm just saying, not to take shots at Tony Romo. He might be commentating this game. Yes, I'm not sure if it's this one or Bill. But anyway, Romo has thrown some, crucial interceptions, some crucial fumbles in big games. Obviously, one has nothing to do with the other, but Prescott has struggled under pressure this year, and I think he'll continue to do so. I'm going with the Niners. How about you, Meisty?
I hope I'm wrong, but I'm gonna have the Cowboys winning this game. I think it's gonna be my prediction. I think we're gonna have a 24-17 Cowboys win, but I think the game's going to be much closer. I think we're going to see a late score, and then, but I hope I'm wrong because I just don't want.
It can be a little.
How about them Cowboys? Well,
yeah.
Okay, so we got 2 Cowboys, got 1 Niners.
I'm just excited to see Stephen A. Smith after the Cowboys lose.
Oh my gosh! Well, whether they win or lose, it's pretty hilarious. After Cowboys game. Morty, I think I know what you're going to pick, but do you have an opinion on the matter?
Yeah, I have a pick. I'm curious to see what you think I'm going to pick. I think you think that I'm going to pick against the Niners because I said last week I think that I wasn't a fan of the Niners.
No, I think you're going to pick against the Cowboys because you don't want the Cowboys.
Of course, I'm picking against the Cowboys.
I knew it. All right, so we got 2 Niners. Cowboys.
Look like
Yehuda, real quick. Rams Cardinals. Who you got?
I was going to take the Rams. The Cardinals have just been, I think they lost the last 4 out of 5. They just lost to the Seahawks at home. That is just a bad look. I know the Rams haven't been playing perfect, but the Rams are going to win.
Okay, Rams got. So we got. What were the predictions? Rams card. Okay, you know what? We'll figure it all out afterwards. I don't have the headspace for this right now. but here we got split. We got an even split. I love it because in the first, all the AFC games, it was a sweep. It was a dead sweep. So we're getting a lot of even splits. The NFC matchup seems to be a little more compelling. Although I think Bengals Raiders is going to be great. But anyway, this is going to be a great matchup. I'm pumped for this. Do we know if Nance and Romo are doing Saturday night?
It's on CBS. They're for sure going to make Nance and Romo do Cowboys Niners.
Yeah,
For
but
sure.
Bills Patriots, they're going to make Ian Dan Theodore.
Classic CBS to not give us Tony Romo for the Cowboys. Classic.
You think they announced Morty? Could we look that up? They for sure announced the commentators already. For sure announced them. I'm just saying I don't think they're I don't know if the Cowboys aren't on CBS too often, number one. But when they are, I don't know how many games they've given Romo this year. Maybe 1 or 2.
All right, I got the list. Yeah, Tony Romo is doing Jim Nance, Tony Romo doing Dallas Cowboys Niners. Yeah, they got Ian Eagle.
Who's doing Bills Patriots?
Ian Eagle and Charles.
Greg Gumbel?
No, Ian Eagle and Charles Davis.
Ian Eagle and Charles Davis.
Yeah.
All right, those guys are great too. So we got some good commentators coming up. NBC probably, I'm assuming Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth are going to do a Steelers Chiefs, and then Raiders Bengals will be the alternative. All right, and we got Manning Cast on Monday night. Some great, good crews coming up. And 6 games. 6 games. What'd you say?
I was going to say no NFL players on the Manning Cast who are playing in this game because they don't want to get jinxed from that Manning curse.
Rodgers had the guts to go on a week before the playoffs, which was great. He had the guts to do it.
He don't care.
He doesn't care. Manning Cast. We got any stars? Anyone that stands out in the Manning Cast? You have the lineup?
I didn't see that, but I can check.
Pull up the lineup. I don't know. Goodell was on, and that was a big disappointment because they didn't ask him anything about football. They sort of asked him about youth football, and I wanted to get something controversial out of him, and they got nothing controversial out of him whatsoever. They just sort of talking about his youth football, and his family, and I'm like, okay, it's cute, but stir the pot a little.
They are not going to ask him anything super controversial on air, on ESPN, on his broadcast.
Obviously not. I'm sure that was a prerequisite.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was a prerequisite to having him on.
Yeah.
You have the lineup there?
I wasn't able
All
to.
Right. All right. Not a big deal. Anyway, we got Manning Cast. A lot of great stuff. Cowboys Niners is going to be a great game. We'll see if the underdog pulls it off or if the underdog pulls it off. In this case, everyone, thank you for joining us. Enjoy Wild Card Weekend and have a great day.
Super Wild Card Weekend.